He was perhaps par excellence the quintessential Indian politician. Netaji is a generic word for political leaders, at least in northern India. But at the same time, when you would say Netaji in UP, everybody knew immediately who you would be talking to. It's rare even today to find, new generations of politicians who are as dedicated to politics as he was. Even, in a phase of his life where he was, a little bit weakened, you could talk to him about the past and he could probably tell you the name of, local party cadres across the state from 40 years ago. And the second thing that maybe surprise his interlocutors is how humorous he was. I mean, I've met him a number of times. I mean, he was telling me, stories about his imprisonment during the emergency and how he used to prank his cellmates who were RSS cadres. I have this moment in the interview which is recorded, where it's very hard to understand because he keeps laughing, from his own story. There are few people in post-independence India who've, had such a long and rich, political career. And the one thing that strikes me in a long and complex career such as Mulayams is that he was perhaps par excellence the quintessential Indian politician, or at least North Indian politicians. There are few people who have, succeeded in embodying what it means to live and breathe through politics. It's rare even today to find, new generations of politicians who are as dedicated to politics as he was. It was a 24/7 activity, and it's quite revealing that the nickname that he has, Netaji, is both very generic because Netaji is a generic word for political leaders, at least in northern India. But at the same time, when you would say Netaji in UP, everybody knew immediately who you would be talking to, right? And that's a tribute to the kind of dedication that he has shown through his life. He succeeded in becoming the embodiment or to incarnate an issue that was larger than himself, which was the cause of social justice, which was the quest to build cross-caste and class solidarities and do away with the monopoly that upper castes have, sort of enjoyed so far on public institutions and politics. It's the capacity of embodying, ideas that are larger than oneself that made him, the leader that he was. Although he was a regional politician, he became nonetheless a national figure. The political landscape has always been very fragmented, which meant that you could form majorities in UP with a small number of votes, relatively small number of votes. And so that creates incentives for political parties to focus on building a core support group, usually defined along caste lines, Yadavs, Jata for the BSP, Yadav for the SP, and to basically seek to get the additional votes that one need by co-opting candidates who come from, the local elite. But these strategies were, minimal winning strategies in the sense that they were aimed at, winning a seat with 30, 32, 35% of the votes. Right, and banking on the fact that the rest of the landscape, the political landscape, would remain intensely fragmented between other parties, including the Congress and BJP and other regional parties, small parties, etc. But that model proved its limits when the BJP rose with the ability of basically gathering almost everyone else. And so a party like SP and the BSP more spectacularly so, as sort of, prisoner of, the model of politics that helped them rise initially, but is today insufficient to win elections. Mulayam Singh Yadav's clout and power had already considerably faded ever since, he gave the reign to his son in 2012. So it's been 10 years. He's not been, the head of the party. He was a patriarch. He was a, guiding figure. He was an important figure. If anything, it consolidates Akhilesh Yadav in his position, because those who opposed him within the party no longer have, his father to sort of use as a name to rally around. But the power transition within the ASP took place long ago already. It's definitely an end of an era, but more in terms of, symbol than, actual politics.